You can't box Howie Roseman in. You can't say because you did this or this in the past, that's the only things you're going to be able to do. By now, we should know Howie Roseman is ever changing, ever morphing. He does what he wants, when he wants, how he wants. He has a Napoleon hat, he has pocket pencil protectors, he has glasses, and he calculates the calculations. A guy like that can do and draft whoever he wants. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here. I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. You know, Howie Roseman has been one of the most fascinating GMs I've ever seen. A guy that comes in and at first everybody doesn't like him, changes his ways, kind of goes back to his old ways, then he comes back to his new ways, and Howie Roseman has redefined himself over and over and over again. But it's for a good reason, because Howie Roseman knows you can't follow the crowd. You can't do what every other team is doing all the time, and you can't just keep repeating the same things you do. You have to be willing to change. You have to see the value in doing things the opposite way. And that's why I think this year the Eagles are going to draft in a way that you haven't seen them draft before. What position? We'll get into it in a second. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the most censored, most throttled, pause, Eagles content creator in all of the internet. And if you've been subscribed for a while, thank you for all the support you guys give to me. Truly, 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 it means a lot. And I am forever, ever humbled. I really, really am. Okay, so we're going to get into this because this has kind of become the Bijan Robinson day, right? The last 24 hours. Because he came, he visited Philly. This has sparked a lot of debate between Eagle fans, even media guys making claims that I don't know how they can make, but you know, it is what it is. I think the one thing that I can say about Howie Roseman and about what's going to happen in this draft, for all of us, this goes for all of us, none of us know what he's going to do. None of us have a clue. Howie Roseman could go any way he wants. All right? And before we get even further into this video, there we go. There we go. All right. So, we all need to know that up front. We have no idea what Howie's going to do. And if we're going to look at history to decide and figure out how Howie might draft, then that's going to eliminate most positions, okay? But actually, I want to take a step back real quick because I'm getting ahead of myself. We do have a little bit of Eagles news in terms of the coachings. Matt Zenitz, I hope I said your last name right, he says the Philadelphia Pound Eagles, not hashtag, are expected to hire veteran secondary coach Taver Johnson, sources tell at On3 Sports. Johnson had been working at Eastern Michigan, previously worked in the NFL with the Pound Raiders, and for college teams like Ohio State and Purdue. So the Eagles are bringing in another secondary coach, and that is not a surprise. I think they had said before that was going to happen, so it did. I don't know much about the guy, so we'll see how it goes. At this point, I'm giving the whole defensive staff, the whole coaching staff, really, I'm giving them, an open mind. I'm going to hope that Desai goes out there and that he's very, very good. Jonathan Gannon's gone. And even if he runs a similar scheme and a scheme like Gannon was running, I just think if he's just a little more aggressive, I think the Eagles will be fine. Now, we did lose a lot of pieces, right? We lost a lot of pieces, and the thought is always that when you lose the pieces on a team, that you have to immediately go in to the draft or free agency and then replace the pieces you lost. The problem is it's not always a one-for-one deal, okay? You don't lose a Javon Hargrave and then draft somebody and they produce like Javon Hargrave. You don't lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson and then draft a guy that comes in and produces like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Usually with rookies, you can't expect that right away. It's very hard for that to happen. And if there are rookies that are immediate impact rookies, guys that could come in and start right away, those are guys that teams that have Super Bowl aspirations, teams that think that they can win that year, those teams, those type of teams look for guys like that. All right. So when I think about Howie Roseman and how he's going to handle this draft and what he's going to do, the truth is, we have no idea. We all have our opinions. We all have our feelings of what we think he should do. Obviously, I have put my foot down in the sand with B.P.A. Robinson. I think that's the play. I think you have to draft number 5. I think that is the way to go. At this point, I don't care what pick it is. Just get him. Just get him. Now, that might not be happening. That most likely isn't happening. That's just purely Philly 500's opinion. I feel very strongly about it. There are a few guys that I would draft. I would say in my top three guys that I would like the Eagles to land, regardless of what the percentage of it happening is, I would say number 1, Will Anderson Jr. He would be my number 1 guy I would want. Number 2, I'm going to say B.P.A. Robinson. B.P.A. Robinson, I think what he would do for that Eagles offense would be insane. And then I would say 3 is Jalen Carter. Now, I would have put Jalen Carter probably at 1, but because of everything going on with him, I don't know where he is mentally. I don't know if he's ready. I'm worried about, post-traumatic stress from everything that happened. So the Eagles will have to do their due diligence. But those are the 3 guys that I think would impact the Eagles immediately and quickly. All right? But that's just my opinion. We don't know what Howie's thinking. But if a lot of people say, well, the Eagles won't take a running back in the first round because they never do it. They never do it. This is not how they draft in the first round. Well, okay, that's fine. Let's say you're right. No running back in the first round. All right. Now, what else do the Eagles do in the first round? Because if you really look at the Eagles' first rounds over the last 10, 15 years, there's only a few positions they draft from. They'll draft a defensive lineman, whether it's a defensive tackle or a defensive end. We've seen them do that multiple times in the first round. The Eagles will also draft a wide receiver in the first round as of lately, because let's face it, for years and years after Freddie Mitchell, they would not draft a wide receiver in the first round. All right. And then they draft Rager. He was a disaster. All right. And then I remember the year Devontae Smith came out, I had a list of 5 guys I thought the Eagles needed to get and that I wanted. Just like I gave you a list of 3. I had 5. One of the guys, I think he was 3rd on my list, was Devontae Smith. Now, I used to say the Eagles should go after Devontae Smith if they can get him. And I used to get I used to get hate. It was like, not hate, but I used to get, Philly, the Eagles are not drafting a wide receiver 2 years in a row. There's no way it happened. It'll never happen. Stop talking about it. They drafted Devontae Smith. That was not normal. That was not normal for the Eagles to do it. But they did it. Last year, going into the draft, I was saying there's 3 wide receivers that all want contracts. You had DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, and A.J. Brown. I did videos on all of them. I said, I don't care which one you get, but you have to make a play for one of these receivers. And everybody told me the Eagles won't do it. They drafted Devontae Smith in the first round, Rager the year before. They're not going to spend money on a wide receiver. It won't happen. Philly, you're dreaming. Stop dreaming. It won't happen. It happened. All right? So, my point is, things can change. Howie can change things up, and it's good that he does, because you don't want to follow what everybody else is doing. We want to be the trendsetters. And if you look at the history of the Eagles and the first round recently, especially under Howie Roseman, here are the positions they're going to draft. Defensive end, defensive tackle, offensive lineman, wide receiver. That's it. It's those 4 positions. If we're going by history, we're going to say the Eagles don't do this, so they won't do it again. They don't draft corners. They haven't since Lito Shepherd. Okay? They don't draft safeties. They don't draft linebackers. They don't draft running backs. They don't draft any of these positions. So all those positions should be taken off the table. We should narrow it down based upon history that the Eagles are going to take an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, or maybe a wide receiver. But I doubt they'll take a wide receiver because they just traded for A.J. Brown, and they got Devontae Smith, and they just got regular. I don't think they're going to take a wide receiver. So it's down to 3 spots. Okay? It's down to 3 spots. Defensive line, defensive end, edge rusher. You can say defensive end / edge rusher, or defensive tackle, or offensive lineman. That's it. That's it. That's what we're going to get if the Eagles stick to what they've done over the last, 20 years. Now, I don't think they're going to do that. And I don't think this is the time to do that, because you have a team that is coming off a Super Bowl that is really just a few players away from going back and winning. So you have to not just draft for the future and to replace the guys you lost for the long term. You've also got to try to build for next year. And when I look at it, there's two positions that the Eagles, in my opinion, are not as good as they were a year ago: linebacker and running back. Defensive line, you can say they lost something with Hargrave, but I still think they're really good. You still got Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, and then Hassan Reddick, all double-digit sack guys. All right? So it's funny, because if you just sit back and you think about it, and we just say, forget the history and forget the past, what is a smart thing to do? Taking Bijan Robinson makes so much sense for next year. Why? Because it makes your offense insanely good. Two, what it does is it gives your defense some breathing room. You're replacing guys. You have some young guys. With an offense like that, they're going to score a lot of points. And with a running back like that, they're going to keep offenses off the field. All right? And then, number three, you're giving a guy a 4 or 5 year contract, a rookie contract. You don't have to deal with it for 4 or 5 years while Hurts is hitting his peak in his contract. You don't have to worry about a running back. Those are reasons why I think the Eagles brought Bijan Robinson in. That's why I think it's happening. That's why I think it could. Now, let's say they don't draft Bijan Robinson. Let's say they don't draft running back. If they draft a cornerback, let's say they take Weatherspoon or Gonzalez. Let's say they take a cornerback. This is completely off the norm of what Howie Roseman does. That is not what Howie does. He would have to break the trend. So what I'm saying is, he's going to probably break a trend most likely no matter what. He's either going to take a corner, take a running back, or take a defensive line. I maybe offensive line, but truth of the matter is, Howie can go any way. And if there was ever a time to break the trend of what you normally do, it's now. This is the time to do it. So I'm all in on Bijan Robinson. I am all in. And I would be all in, let's say you want a safety. Let's say you want a corner. I'm great with that too, But if we base things on history, if we put Howie Roseman in a box and say, okay, Howie, you're in the box. You only draft these 3 positions in the first round normally, so that's what we're going to expect from you. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, I do think if Jalen Carter drops, they take him. I think it would be smart. I also think if you ever had a chance to get Will Anderson Jr., you do it. But I think Bijan Robinson is a top 5 talent in the NFL draft. He's being penalized and punished because of a position he plays. But you can't help it if the guy is that good. I saw on Jacob Sports, shout out to them, I saw Derek Gunn, and I was watching, and he was talking about how he talked to somebody within the organization. He talked to somebody within the organization, and they said they won't draft a running back. At 10, they won't draft a running back. At 30, they'll never draft a running back in the first round. Now, let me ask you a question. Why on earth would somebody within the organization say that to somebody in the media? Why would you say that? First of all, if you're being honest, you're tipping your hand. You don't want to do that. Second of all, how can you make that judgment without seeing how the board is falling and without seeing how the draft is going to go? If you're saying we don't care how talented a guy is, we don't care how good he is, he plays a position, so we don't want him, to me is crazy. It's crazy and it's irresponsible. And I, for one, I believe Derek Gunn was told that, but I don't believe for a second they go that route. I don't think Howie Roseman cares. I think Howie Roseman will do whatever he thinks is best for the Eagles and best for the time. And if you want to win next year and you want to win down the road, a guy like Bijan Robinson would be a fantastic pick. Even a guy like Branch, the safety, or corner. Those positions, normally not positions that Howie Roseman likes to draft, would be great positions. So my position is draft number 5. All right, draft number 5. Get it done, and I think he's the guy. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think that the Eagles brought him in because they saying, oh, maybe just in case he falls to the second round. No. I think the Eagles are legitimately looking at him. I think the way that they set up their running back situation, they're legitimately looking at him. And nobody's going to convince me otherwise until the draft happens. If the Eagles go in with no other running back being added, I would be shocked. Absolutely shocked. Just my thoughts. Wanted to get it out there. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm looking forward to hearing your comments. Don't be throwing shoes at me and stuff. I know people get frustrated, but I had to get this out, man. Because if we're going to just make everything about what the Eagles always do and how they always draft, then you're just talking about 3 positions. Offensive lineman, defensive line, and maybe a wide receiver. That's it. They don't draft anything else in the first round. Oh, quarterback, but you know they're not doing that. So Howie's got to break the cycle at some point, is all I'm saying. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. I truly, truly believe the Eagles are going to do something magnificent, something that people aren't going to expect, and a lot of people are going to be surprised when it gets done, how it gets done. I cannot wait. I love this team. There will be nothing better for me than having a Bijan Robinson jersey in Kelly Green next year as he pummels the Dallas Cowboys. Denzel Washington out.